Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Imam al-Bukhari, rahimahullah, brings in his Sahih a hadith which shows us the beginning of how our Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam began to first receive the revelation. It's reported by Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, in which she says, أول ما بدأ به رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من الوحي الرؤيا الصالحة في النوم فكان لا يرى رؤية إلا جاءت مثل فلك الصبح. The commencement or the initiation of the divine revelation to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam first began in the form of righteous dreams, to the extent that he would be up at the daytime and he would see it come to fruition, come to light, just like the daybreak. Whatever he would see at night, it would happen during the day. After this, the Prophet ﷺ began to love to seclude himself in Ghar Hira, in the cave of Hira. And he would go there to contemplate or to think and to ponder what the meaning of life is and how to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala properly. And so he would separate himself from the society, taking his food and his provisions with him, and he would spend time there until one day the truth came to him, in which Jibreel alayhi salam comes to him, and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, he took me and he squeezed me and he told me, Iqra, recite. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, Ma ana biqari, I'm unable to read. And so Jibreel squeezed him a second time and said, Iqra. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam responds the same way, I cannot read, I cannot recite. And so he squeezes him a third time and says, Iqra. And the Prophet replies the same way, I cannot read, I cannot recite. And so Jibreel, he says, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. The first 5 or opening verses of Surah Al-Alaq, in which he's instructing him to recite in the name of the Lord, in the name of Allah. The ulama of Islam, the scholars, they comment on this and they say that this shows us, that this proves to us that the first important matter, the first thing for a person to do once they reach the age of taklif, of responsibility, of discernment, is ilm, knowledge. And that is because the first divine order or command from Allah to his Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam was none other than read, recite, showing us the importance and the value of knowledge. And we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would go on to order or command the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with various other commands. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would shortly thereafter command him, saying, Qum fa'andir, get up, stand up, and warn the people, which is a command to give da'wah, which is a command to warn others, to teach them about the knowledge that has come to him. Allah would order him later on as well, saying, قُمِ اللَّيْلَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا, stand up at night in prayer except for a little, which is an order, a command to worship Allah. And Allah would also go on to command him and order him, saying, جاهد الكفار والمنافقين, strive and struggle against those who disbelieve and the hypocrites. All of these are divine orders and commands from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his Nabi. Yet he initiated the divine revelation with the order Iqra, read, recite. And that is because every other order that will come after it is built upon having knowledge first. Every other command that comes after it will not be able to be fulfilled properly except and unless he sallallahu alayhi wasallam has knowledge. Because in order to give da'wah, you must have knowledge. Otherwise, you're only spreading ignorance. In order to worship Allah properly, you must have knowledge. Otherwise, your worship is misguided. And in order to strive and struggle against the hypocrites and one's enemies, then one must have knowledge, otherwise it will only lead to oppression. Which shows us the importance of knowledge in Islam, as this is the first command that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given his Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam in Ghar Hira, in the cave of Hira. And there are many virtues and many benefits and many ayat and ahadith which show us the importance of seeking knowledge as Muslims. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he says, as is mentioned in the hadith of Abu Hurairah, that whoever treads a path or whoever takes a path in seeking knowledge, then Allah will make easy for them the path to paradise. So for one to initiate or go on the search or the journey for the Shari'i knowledge, the religious knowledge, then Allah will make all things leading to paradise easy for that person. And in another hadith, as we all know, also reported by Abu Hurairah, the Prophet ﷺ, he says that when a person passes away, all of his deeds are cut off except for three. Except for three. Number one, a continuous charity. A charity that he has in place that is continuously benefiting people. Number two, knowledge that he leaves behind for others to benefit from. And number three, a righteous child who makes dua for that person. So one of the benefits, or one of the ways for a person to continuously benefit, even after they're long gone, is that they have spread the religious knowledge. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he tells us in another hadith, whoever Allah wants good for, he gives them fiqh of the deen, understanding of the deen. All of these pointing us towards and showing us the importance of acquiring the religious knowledge. And this is a push that the Prophet ﷺ himself has given us. And so this is a reminder that we place great importance in seeking the religious knowledge. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. Jazakumullahu khairan.